Hi, Dustin Weinkoff here, product specialist with Agland and Lloydminster. Today we're going to go through our model year 20 R-Series sprayer product support video. So for our engine oil, for new sprayers, the break-in period is 100 hours. So in that first 100 hours, we want to make sure that if we need to add any oil, that we're adding the John Deere break-in plus oil. And we don't want to be adding any oil until it is down on add. After that initial 100 hours, we'll do our first oil change, and then we can do 250-hour interval changes there. So our fill and oil check is here with the yellow cap, and fuel filters a cartridge style over on the right hand side. So for our hubs here, we're going to do a break-in oil change after 50 hours. That's going to be our initial break-in, and then we're going to do it 250 hours thereafter. It'll just be 8140 gear oil that we're going to replace in here. Next, we're going to look at our oil reservoir here. So our oil reservoir, it is filled with 1030 engine oil, not hydraulic oil. Reason behind that is that the engine oil has the ability to help separate water and moisture in the oil. So 1,000 hour change here. At the same time that we change the oil, we want to make sure we change our filters and fill here and our site level. New sprayers, you will notice it might look green. The reason for it being green is there is just dye placed in the oil to detect leaks from factory. So 1030 engine oil, 1,000 hour change. So next what we're going to go through is our daily or 10-hour grease points on the sprayer. So one change in the R-Series sprayers is there's no longer any grease nipples anywhere out on the booms. Our grease nipples now are just in our center rack pivot points and then in our suspension struts. So everything we do see on this side of the sprayer is going to be mirrored exactly on the other side. There will be 12 grease nipples here for the center rack pivot points. So we're going to start with these two right here that are going to go up to our upper pins. We'll have one lower one here which we grease from on the inside. And then looking over here, we've got one remote line that will go up to our top, and we've got two here. And just keep in mind, like I'd said before, everything we do see on this side is mirrored over on the other side. So for our suspension system here on our struts, again, 10 hours or daily. There will be 4 on each suspension strut, so everything we do see on this one will be mimicked on the other 3. So there'll be one here, an upper and a lower, an upper and a lower in here. Now some sprayers, they will have a grease bank on here, so those 4 will be moved into a grease bank. Now on your fronts, we do have 2 on the kingpins. So we have here and here. That'll be mimicked on the other side. Now on the left side of the machine, those grease nipples will be moved to the back. And those are our 10 hours. And after our suspension there, then we've got our steering cylinders, 1 on each side. There will be a grease nipple on the front and back, and those will be 100-hour service points. Looking up here with our bottom plate removed, we've got our U-joint grease nipples here, and those are 100-hour service as well. So over on the right-hand side of the sprayer here, on the engine, we can see our engine oil cartridge filter that we talked about before, as well as both our fuel filters. So those are a 500-hour change. We do have the water separator there. We need to drain any water, but recommend changing those every 500 hours. Moving over here, up above our fuel tank there, that is where our engine air filter is. You know, recommend changing that yearly. and taking it out and blowing it out as needed throughout the season depending on the conditions you're in. Now on sprayers, final tier 4 sprayers on our DEF tank here, on the top in our header there is a DEF filter in there. We do recommend changing those once a year as they can crystallize with the DEF as they sit. Then back here we do our air compressor. So we've got an air compressor cartridge filter here. Again, that's a yearly recommended change that we'd like to change that. And then daily while we're walking around, make sure that we're draining our air tanks here, as that is for our suspension and crop dividers if we have them. So one other yearly service that we want to make sure we do is that we change our cab air filters. We do recommend though that you don't change those till the spring. Purchase them in the fall, but we do not want to put them in until the spring. So there's one here and one here, and the reason that we don't want to install those until spring is they are charcoal activated. So over here on the left side of the sprayer, we have right here, we have this little switch here. So this is our suspension airbag drop here. Just do keep in mind that off is up, on is down. It can be a little bit deceiving backwards. Then we've got our auxiliary power ports here. So these are just to run a chemical pump, a fuel transfer pump. Do not boost on these. You will blow the fuse on them. If we need to do any boosting, we can boost directly in our batteries, which we can access up top here off the step or off our starter. And then this guy right here is our battery disconnect. If we go to shut our batteries off, we want to make sure that we do not shut this switch off until this little yellow light stops flashing. What that's doing is running our DEF pump backwards to make sure there's no fluid left in the lines, as well as allowing our controllers to go to sleep before we fully kill the power. Our batteries are housed here, where we can boost our machine here or directly off the starter. Next we'll go up the machine and look at the cooling stack. Here we can access our cooling stack. We can pull it apart by undoing a clip on both sides here to access our radiator if we need to clean it out. Up under the hood, this is where our coolant reservoir is. If we need to add any coolant, this is where we will do so. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to look at rebuilding our ExactApply nozzle body. While we're spraying, if we do get a fault of a solenoid stuck either opened or closed, it will tell us which nozzle number it is. We can go outside and find that. Number 1 is always our far left-hand side. Number 72 is our far right-hand side. Solenoid A will be the left-hand solenoid if you're at the rear of the boom looking forward. Solenoid B will be the right-hand side, the rear of the boom looking forward. Now, in the sprayer comes an ExactApply kit here. So if we have a solenoid B stuck open or closed, we can pull the pin, remove it, take out the plunger. In your kit, there are 2 new plungers, so you can just replace them in the field if you don't want to rebuild it. If you do choose to rebuild it in the field, you can take it here and use the supplied tools, and we can open it up and make sure that there's no debris stuck. We'll remove the top, take it off, at this time making sure there's no hardened chemicals or silicone stuck here inhibiting the movement of this. Next, the poppet and spring come out. We can clean everything up and reinstall. Now it is very important when we put this back together that we do use the supplied wrench as it is set to a predetermined torque. Everything's clean, our O-rings look good. Put it back in the housing, install our cap, install the clip, and we can go back spraying. The last thing we're going to get you to do today is download the John Deere Apply Plus app. On an iPhone, you can go through the App Store, or on an Android through Google Play, search John Deere and Apply Plus. In this app, it'll go through everything that we went through today. Servicing, locations, service hours, fluid levels, machine setup, everything right down to our ExactApply system. Applying, how to fill our tank, how to do a rinse, boom air purge, and lastly, tools. The nozzle selection, we're in here, we can select our mode of spraying, our speed, gallons per acre, and it will give us a recommendation for tips that we can use.